He didn't risk the 7-tackle restart. Masterclass. That's up there with the best games I've seen him play. Absolute masterclass. Oh, he threw the first one.
He did too.
Mate,
He generally did.
that's like killing Bambi, hitting the great Frederico.
Actually, I hope they pick him in the PM squad because I'm coaching the PM's team.
Are you?
Australian.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah.
This is the maddest place on the planet.
Dancing.
The only show where you're allowed to do it without shoes on.
Andrew Johns, one of the greatest players of all time.
Cuddles and kisses go a long way, especially when you're in trouble.
Oh, the horse has bolted. Look at the big fellow go in.
Imagine if he wanted to fire. They're very horny and very aggressive.
Are we allowed to put that to air?
Sydney, stay classy.
I love everyone for making me feel this good.
Welcome to Freddy and the Eighth. Great to be back for another week. We're in our illustrious broom cabinet and we're brought to you by our mates at the Tab.
Squishy.
And you can head to the website below for the chance to win a VIP Melbourne Cup experience. So that's a little extra incentive.
Did Boris Becker excel in a broom closet?
He
cabinet?
excelled in a lot of places.
No, I think he impregnated a lady
In a broom.
broom closet.
Was
Although
like at
Boris is a big fan of Freddy the Eighth.
Was it like at a school?
No, I don't know where it was, but he had a bit of hanky-panky and then did the job.
All right, we'll just check that with our defamation lawyers and we'll get back to everyone. Great to be here. Great to be in September. The sun's shining in Sydney. Beautiful and warm. 24 hours out from
That's
the
the
first
best
of
time.
two great finals. Coming up,
Boris Becker.
the Roosters have stuck solid with their team for this week's clash, despite a bit of speculation that maybe they make some changes. And Josh Schuster's coming back to the NRL. Before that, boys, Josh Addo-Carr spoke to Gus on the podcast on Tuesday. And whilst he didn't say anything overt, it would appear reading between the lines that maybe his time as a bulldog has come to an end.
It was in a restaurant. He had a romp and produced a love child out of it. So
it's not in a toilet.
no, it was in a... anyway, hey Boris, keep on rocking the free
What does Boris think about Josh Addo-Carr?
He'd be
Loves him.
disappointed.
So is Josh been...
He's running the
sacked?
integrity unit, but the club, the integrity unit probably won't sack him, but the club feels that maybe they haven't got the full story, and I think there's a great deal of disappointment about that.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, a lot of blokes these days and understand there's a bit of a code of just putting your hand up if you do something wrong. I don't know if he's still adamant that he didn't have anything.
Yes.
Are we talking about Boris? So do you reckon he'll get sacked, Freddie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you reckon he'll end up? It's hard to think who needs wingers. Who needs wingers?
Might end up where it started at the West Tigers.
The Tigers.
Well, you know what I'd like to see him? I'd like to see him go to South Sydney. Under Wayne.
That's the
So they're outside backs, Tane Milne, they're wingers.
yeah, the
Young Tyrone Munro,
Alex Johnston.
Alex Johnson,
Alex Johnson, he ruptured his Achilles.
Campbell Graham.
Campbell Graham doesn't play, he's a centre. I think it'd fit in. Where's Fox is from Woolloomooloo, yeah?
No, Fox's Lapa and Blacktown.
Well, it fits in with the Indigenous, with the bunnies. It'd be nice to see him go to the bunnies. I think it'd be a really good fit.
I think dealing with what's going on in Canterbury's the more pressing issue.
Yeah. Look, there's some precedent. I think the integrity unit will impose a fine. That won't, as long as he's not deregistered, and if he does part ways with the Bulldogs, he would be available for another club.
Yeah.
Stand by for that. Roosters team changes. Do you think there was any consideration to moving Manu to 6?
I don't think so. I think you've got to go back the week prior where Sandon Smith did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, obviously,
Who was that
Penrith
against?
just
They had a big
pressure
win.
on.
Who was that?
They got beat by Canberra, and then they beat. Who'd they beat?
The last round.
Yeah. South.
South,
Beat
yeah.
South.
He set up a really good try on that one.
Yeah. It was his defence. They put him under a lot of pressure. And
Keary, they put Keary under all sorts of pressure.
he missed 10 tackles, Sandon.
Did he?
Yeah.
I remember just watching Liam Martin zero in on Keary, open the field up, and then they attacked the other edge. Where this week on the right side, for Manly, it's going to be Olakuatu. So, Be interesting to see how Cherry Evans and how they create room and space around Keary to get Addo-Carr. Addo-Carr on the weekend once again was unstoppable. He is a machine.
I thought it was good early on in the game. I don't think they overused him either. They sort of I think they just slowed the game up, and they're just really getting barrage from the Dogs. Like the Dogs are in total control. So it's a good thing they didn't use up all his energy.
Cherry Evans did start firing him the ball though pretty early in the tackle count as they were struggling to get out of yardage, and it worked. I mean, he beat Kick Allen Burton a few times.
We're going to talk about Cherry Evans later, aren't we? In depth.
Yep.
Well, the other one is Billy Smith. Billy Smith came back from the ankle. I think he injured a hip pointer or something. But if Manu was to go to 5'8", then Billy Smith would come into that centre position. But no, I agree. Keep Sandon Smith and Keary there.
It's a much stronger looking team this week with the Ria Hargreaves back, maybe Radley, but also maybe the end of an era if they lose. A lot of players potentially playing their last games.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? They've been up for a long time. They Warbrick scored at the death last year. In the last minute of the game. They would have taken to the last 4, so... Yeah.
I thought last week against Penrith, they were blown away early, as everyone. But I thought when their bench came on, Spencer, Siwa Wong, who else was on the bench last week?
Terrell.
But their bench this week is Nat Butcher, Siwa Wong, Spencer Leniu and Tyrell May. They've gone with 4 big boppers. I think they'll blast away. I thought last week I don't want to question Robbo, but I thought Spencer Leniu probably would have been better starting. I know Jared...
He did the game before and he was terrible. He dropped his first 2, he dropped the ball the first 2 sets. Dropped it cold.
Do you think maybe it's the excitement that gets the better of him, starting?
I thought it was the other way. I thought being on the bench he'd fizz up.
He's done it for so long.
Yeah.
Look, he's pretty much just been a bench player. He got picked off the bench for Origin.
I actually had a look before calling the game last week. His whole time at Penrith, I think he only started 3 games.
Did he?
Yeah, and played like 4 or 5 seasons.
But 15, 20-minute efforts. He didn't play long.
The game's like that, though.
Such an explosive
the game's over 80 minutes, and that's just the scenario it is. If you've got, 8 interchanges, then,
But really, it's 7, because you keep one up your
save
sleeve, isn't it?
There's actually more because you get the HIA, which can sometimes be beneficial.
Well, at times, I think at times clubs have averaged 13.
Is it? Yeah, right.
At times.
That's an interesting element that we haven't really talked about.
Over semis and stuff, because, what are they going to do in the semis? Fine you.
It's like the old blood bin days when Mario would take the blood capsules out. Bite it in his mouth and free interchange. Boys, Nicho, I saw he was front and centre at Sharks yesterday. Look, that's pretty brave. So I think the way it works now that the media manager tries to identify the news and goes to the players and asks if they're willing to talk, and he was front and centre, basically said, well, if people are bagging me, they need to have a look at themselves, which is pretty gutsy, but the reality is that it hasn't worked for him in big games.
I don't think people are bagging him. I don't think people...
I do.
You do?
Of course they are.
What, on social media? I haven't seen on social media.
There's criticism of him not being able to perform on the big stage.
But it's warranted. You can't argue when there's stats behind you. They haven't won, is it 7 in a row? They haven't won semi-finals.
So they've never won under Fitzy. Never won a final.
And who owns the results in big games?
Halves.
Your halves.
I really liked your column today, just talking about he just needs to be thinking about tackling and where he's going to kick.
Simplify it. What's he going to do? Defence. If you get your defence right, you're aggressive and your timing is really good early, everything grows off your defence. You get confidence from it, you get your timing, you're in the game. But the kicking game, last week I think they were caught 2 or 3 times on the last play. Big games, especially early, it's all about where you give the ball back to the opposition. And if you want to watch a halfback, the way you play in a big game, Cherry Evans' game Sunday was a masterclass on how to play on the back foot. And look, they were on the back foot against Melbourne, their middle forwards got rolled. But that game by Cherry Evans last Sunday, it was a masterclass.
Well, talk us through that. What was so great about it?
He just kept him in the game. He held his nerve. He didn't want to move the ball laterally sideways on no go forward. So he let him try to get forward, but he kicked really well. But when they got a set start or when they got a penalty or an opportunity, he picked the speed of the game up. The turning point was when he came in with Reid Marnie, when Reid was into Garrick, was it?
Yeah, and they got a penalty.
And he came in, hip tossed him and threw him down, which is the captain say, hey, boys, look what I'm doing. And then I thought the momentum changed from then. but he kept him in the game. He totally held his nerve. He drove his forwards, and then when the game on the line, running the ball inside your own 30 as a halfback is so courageous. Played inside a turbo, offload, Kohler scores. But then the last 7 minutes was a masterclass. He gave the ball back to the Bulldogs 3 times inside their 10, a metre out in the corner. And what it did,
Come on, 2 errors.
Bronson Xerri dropped the ball cold. It's pressure. That's what pressure does. He didn't risk the 7-tackle restart. Masterclass. That's up there with the best games I've seen him play. Absolute masterclass.
I wasn't down in Melbourne, but that
So I'll say this. Sorry. If he doesn't play, they don't get home. They don't get home near. They probably get rolled by 20. I still can't believe they won.
No, not at all. The breeze in Melbourne, you were talking about that during the call, and the Sharks had the benefit of that in the second half, and they scored before half time.
Yeah.
So it was 14-10. You think they're right in the game there, and they got blitzed in the second half.
Well, it took Braden Trindle, I reckon, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to have an early kick. Like Melbourne really dominated in the second half. They just got the ball down there and kept it down there. And it took him 20 minutes to kick the ball early. Like, I don't understand why people just aren't. The moment if I had wind, if you had a quick play of the ball, I'd just kick it. Every time. Just kick it. Every time you got a quick play of the ball, just kick it. You're only going to have a fullback sitting on his own, and all you got to do is find space. If you find space, you've won. You'll win the next 2 minutes.
But we're judging the Sharks on last week's performance only. Don't worry about the last couple of years. Melbourne are the best team in the comp at the moment.
They're flying.
Shandy behind them's Penrith. But if you go Melbourne and Penrith, yeah, there. The other teams are so far off. The other teams have 14 to 16 points off those top 2 teams. Let's just play the grand final next week. Let's get it over and let's get on holidays.
With Nicho, it's really hard in modern society really to keep yourself away from the noise, but like, does he need to do that?
Turn your phone off.
Turn your phone off.
Don't talk to the media.
That's how easy it is.
Turn your phone off.
I get a sore neck.
Oh, what's happened?
No,
Gardening?
just thinking about gardening. But I can't believe people find it so hard to actually to turn off. You don't watch the news. You don't go near your phone. How hard is that?
I've stopped watching the news. It's too sad.
How hard is it? I like the news. I
How
like watching Pete.
How the boys go when you ban phones in camp? Do they get edgy?
No, they get used to
Twitchy?
it. I remember Matt Pryor actually coming up to me. So we did a bus trip, and we said, we take our phones. I remember him coming up going, wow. He said, that hurt. You know?
Did you say that?
That was a 30-year-old man.
Oh, it's an
Well, he just said it was like,
This is the worst one. After a game. Straight off after a game. Look, this is after a loss up there in the Cowboys, but it was a great game. The best part of playing, the things that stand out for me was coming in after a big win, the first 10 or 15 minutes after the game, sitting there, chatting away, having a beer sometimes, not always having a beer, but just chatting away and celebrating the win. That mustn't go on anymore, no?
I don't think they drink a lot. I don't think they go out as much. Like we used to always go out. We went out after every game. I reckon for my first
Yeah,
10
but I'm not talking
You're talking about the energy, aren't
I'm
you?
talking of the 10 minutes after a big win. You're sitting
Well, they
across,
just sit.
and then you're talking about the game. What about Leo? What about when Tamalolo smashed you? What about that? And then they have a joke, and then you're joking about it. And then it's so good, that first 10 or 15 minutes after a win.
Back in 1997, I don't know if the mobile phone was invented. Maybe the Nokia with the old Snake game on it.
They used to
Maybe
have a
that was
phone. I
around.
had a phone in 1990, I reckon 92,
What?
in the car.
Oh, car phone.
Car phone.
I never got my first mobile phone till the late 90s, and I used to borrow it off different players. Matt Gidds I used to borrow it off him, and then eventually I decided to get one. Yeah, and everything changed.
Did you have Tinder on the car phone?
There was no Tinder.
No.
No, there was no cameras.
Nothing.
There was
No,
no
there
cameras
camera,
on
and
them.
there was no social media and stuff.
I was being facetious. Roosters Manly Saturday night, back to 97, a cracking battle back in the halcyon days.
Rain failed to keep the faithful away, but the slippery conditions made it hard to get a handle on anyone. Replays confirmed Andrew Walker did not deserve his marching orders, but the penalty cost 2 points. Manly besieged the Roosters' line only to blow several chances before Brad Fittler's bomb rained on Danny Moore, creating a cloudburst for Jack Ellsgood. Another penalty goal got Manly within 2 points. The Sea Eagles in front for the first time in the second half. Anthony Colella creating a try for Craig Ennis. Jim Sedaris creating worries for his club on report after this tackle.
The actual technique was fine. It was just the result that was the problem.
Certainly no malice in it. You know, I'm very confident I'll be getting off next week.
The heavy conditions frustrated Fittler and Carroll, but from deep in their own mud, Manly emerged playing dry weather football. 16-6. The Sea Eagles seemed home, however high kicks continued to create havoc. Once again, Jack Ellsgood, Johnny on the spot. When Scott Goulet scored under the posts, the game was as good as tied. But a Craigfield drop goal gave the minor premiers a 1-point margin, enough to qualify for their third grand final in as many years. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News.
Jim Sedaris played the grand final. He nearly broke his neck.
Bozo, too good.
What a game.
But
just even those highlights, it reminds you of how great the footy was then.
It was so open.
Oh.
So open.
What do you remember? What about you taking on Spud? What are you thinking?
Well, you know what? I remember what I had to do was we had to get the ball back. We didn't have the ball. I remember the game was nearly over. So I thought...
Oh, he threw the first one.
He did too.
Mate.
He generally did.
That's like killing Bambi, hitting the great Frederico.
So there, we lost the ball, and then, I know, we were swinging it before that.
Well, Andrew Walker was sort of a pioneer of the spiral bomb in many ways, wasn't he?
He was the best.
Remember David Aldred? This English kicking coach came out in the mid-90s, and that's when the torpedo bomb started. He educated us all, put extra 10, 15 metres on my kick after 2 sessions.
He'd sit on halfway, this bloke, and literally, and kick it and hit the crossbar consistently.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He went to the NFL, didn't he? Did he? Andrew Walker. Did he play for the Wallabies?
Yeah.
Andrew Walker. I think he
He was still playing up until recently.
Me and him roomed together in Papua New Guinea one year on a tour.
That would have worked well.
That was good. Yeah. Both
He had
liked
some
to be.
scallywag in him. Yeah, he was a great player.
17-16, one of the epics. Goodness, there were some great
What's
finals.
he doing
in
now,
those
Andrew?
eras.
Because your game, you won by a point as well. Both semis are won by points. You would have
I was
played...
in hospital.
Who
Played
did you
North
play?
Sydney. That's
North
what punched
Sydney,
him along.
yeah.
I missed
You
the
won by a
second
field
half.
goal, didn't you?
Can't remember.
Oh, geez, North. How many times did North just get nutted for a grand final? They just could never make it. Did 91, you nutted them in 91 too, didn't you?
Chook kicked one from 5 or 6.
That's right.
Yeah.
Poor Norths. At least they're coming back. The Tab Eras debate. The greatest grand final rivalries. Now, you're, and I am too, but a child of the 80s. So Para Bulldogs,
Para Bulldogs.
right up there.
Para Bulldogs, Para Manly.
Yep.
Well, they played about 6 in a row, I reckon. About 3 clubs.
There's a 5 metre rule.
Yeah.
They were dour. 6
yeah.
fours.
It was a
Four-
4-0 grand final.
The
wasn't
WOC.
it?
4-2.
The WOC made them change the game because the WOC worked out the up and in defence, and they had to change it to 10 metres. The grand finals I wish we would have seen in the early 90s was the Raiders Brisbane.
Yeah.
When they were them two teams were light years in front of. It's probably similar now with Melbourne and Penrith, how far ahead they are.
It's amazing how they never come across
Why
each
did
other.
we never get them? Yeah.
It's just probably bad luck. That 94 Canberra team.
Well, 91 we beat Brisbane in the semi to go and play Canberra in the final. And then the year after...
Oh, actually, St George, they played in 92, 93. Brian Smith doesn't get the accolades he deserves. I know he didn't win a comp, but geez, the teams he had which got him to a grand final.
Compare
Great
that
effort.
to Brisbane, man for man. They're not in the same stratosphere.
Well, the Brisbane of the late 90s, their team, when they won it in 98.
Well, 2000
In
they beat
2000.
us. The two teams were...
Mate. And that was the unlimited interchange. They made over 100 changes, didn't they?
No, they just kept changing
Just
them.
changing.
We made 14. I think they made 50 or something like that. I remember
I think
there was
it's-
Brad Thorne, Petro, Webke,
Harvey Howard.
Harvey Howard, Gordon.
Yeah.
Man, they're just channeling.
I remember being a brookie one day in the unlimited interchange days, and Cliffy would go on the field when they had the ball and then come off when they
Touch
didn't.
footy.
It was hilarious. The Penrith-Melbourne rivalry. when you play against a team in a grand final, I suppose you inherently have a rivalry with them going forward, don't you? So you go back to 2020 when Melbourne won. That was Cam's last game. They might meet again.
Storm nearly had a nasty one.
Well, mate,
I tell you,
that turned around.
the nastiest one was
quickly.
you blokes and Bulldogs.
Bulldogs, yeah.
Early 2000s.
Well, the crowds are
Brawls
into it
every week.
every week. The Melbourne Penrith one, Penrith went away from that and said we can't be bullied again. Went and changed their whole mentality of the club.
Yeah.
But
So it'd be
after
interesting.
2000,
So they got
19
bullied. Yeah.
Caught in the
2019.
headlights.
They got belted around, and then, you know, the ref put his whistle away, and all of a sudden it was 3 or 4 tries to 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
They came back.
No, it's not that one.
They finished within 2, I think. But that changed their club forever.
Yep. We love a set play here on Freddy the Eighth, on and off the field. But this was a cracker from DCE and the boys. They trained for it all week, and how good was it to see it come off in a big game? And great trust from Luke Brooks, just to throw the ball and know
So
that his
happy.
man was going to be there.
So happy for Brooksy to win that semi-final.
It was great where Cherry come from, because Critter, who's a great defender, was the one
Look
who
at
they were
Turbo.
taking on.
Turbo swung late, and
Critter had to come up.
Cherry came from lock unseen. I think Turbo was seen, and then obviously Critter had eyes from them.
Because they mustn't have seen him daily. Because if you watch daily, he sprinted.
Yeah.
By the moment the ball went out, he sprinted.
Looked like he jumped out of his pocket.
So, like, Critter must have been obstructed from Luke Brooks, or
No, I think it was Turbo. He had eyes
was
for
going in
Turbo,
front of him.
obviously, yeah.
you're taking on the best defender. It weren't
That
unreal.
pass from Brooks was some. He passed on the inside leg, unseen, and hit him there. Great pass.
You got any memorable set plays? Going back into the archives? Did you used to train a lot for your set plays?
No, not really. So there's one stands out for me. It was Origin, where we broke the ball down on the halfback, and we doubled up down the short side and played a 4-on-4. And this was accidental. Gids went to hit the hole, and Minnie just sort of appeared. And that play, I ended up implementing that for the next 4 years the way I played. Break it down on the halfback, and then you get a front rower coming around, and the centre runs the decoy, and you get him on the outside. And it was one of the first times I actually passed on the outside leg. So what happens is you break the play down, get the halfback at marker, and double up down the short side. See Shane Webke. Shane Webke was defending where a half was.
Yeah.
I can always remember I asked Wayne Bennett, I said, what was Wally Lewis's best trait? He said, whenever he wanted the ball, he got it. And that was a light bulb moment, because Wally said what he used to do was patrol the rectangle inside the rectangle, and he said sometimes I wouldn't touch the ball for 5 minutes, but then when it was on, and that was it. Break the play down, got Shane Webke coming around where the half defends, Gids runs the decoy, brings the centre in, fullback comes around.
Love it.
So that was a stock standard play then for the next, what was that? What year is this? Yeah, next
2003.
three years or so.
Do you know what? I reckon if that went to the bunker, I reckon it's a try.
Well, it is, because no one got... Oh, well, they went to the bunker. They went to the video ref and they
If
looked
you went
at
to the tackle before, Bedsy ran around someone.
Let's not
call
go
back
there.
a tackle
Let's
before.
not go
it.
there.
Oh, don't get in the bunker.
Then there was the one where you kicked it off the post from Mini for 40 metres out as well. That was always good. Josh Schuster, boys, he's linking up with Wayne at Souths. If anyone was going to unearth his undeniable talent, it's the master coach. I mean, he could be quite a weapon for them if he gets things right.
He's a
Yeah, but
weapon.
what about we're saying if? Got to be when. And it's not up to Wayne. It's not up to Wayne. You know, it's up to Josh.
I
And
think there's been a lot going on behind the scenes that isn't publicly known about Josh Schuster. So he's had some time away and maybe the chance to get things settled. You might see the real.
Well,
the real
hopefully
product.
he's sorted his off-field stuff out and focused, and he can look. Everyone knows the talent. It's up to Josh if he commits to training.
Well, the comment was he looked all right. He looked pretty fit. Well, that in itself for Josh would be
Fit.
the game breaker. To be fit.
So if he's rock hard fit,
If he ever got rock hard fit, he'd be dangerous on a field.
he would be the most creative player
He's
in the
a
game.
freak.
He's a bit of a throwback to that ball playing back rower, isn't he?
We
The
talk
way
about
he-
Luke Brooks. He does that every tackle.
They've got some game breakers in that South team if they're all fit and firing. You throw Dodd coming in, and
What's word you said? If.
well, of course, but potentially if you're a South fan, you look at the players coming in. You
yeah.
think, geez, we've got some.
If he's fit, he's exciting and can play a few positions. Can play back row. Obviously play in the halves.
5'8's his spot.
Mate, he'd be
I
a
do.
great old school lock forward.
Yeah,
playing those short sides,
He'd
the
be
way we used to
unbelievable.
play.
Yes.
So we used to play 5'8" and lock Scott Hill, and we'd split them up. And we'd play those 4-on-4s. We'd get to a spot, without sounding technical, and the lock would hold for the 4-on-4, then we'd play the 6 with the 5'8" on the other side. So hard to stop. Once you had a roll on, you couldn't defend it.
You just need a ball playing like Jimmy Dimmick, Jason Smith. It was about
Scott
through
Hill.
that era. There was like the lock forward was a ball player like a 5'8".
On an edge, but not in the middle. For me, he's a 5'8". I don't think he's got the work rate to play in the
They
middle.
got a pretty handy 5'8".
Yeah.
For the rest of the show, could you talk in as technical language as possible?
Eyes up, footy.
Yeah, all that.
Do you? Going through our processes. Got to
A
be
defender,
stronger
B
in
defender,
D.
that sort of stuff.
Eyes up, footy.
Finals
Spud.
preview, all that. Coming up next, all the big moments here on 9, but 2 cracking games from Allianz this weekend.
It's do or die stuff. The winner lives, the loser says bye.
2 years ago, Val Holmes shattered the Sharks.
He strikes it. He's got it.
Now, 2 champion teams go toe-to-toe in a season-defining sudden-death epic. Live and free Friday on 9 and 9 Now.
Freddy the Eighth medal. Oh. There's got to be an inquiry, as Jeff Tuvia would say. Let's have a look. Joey, 3 points, Kalen Ponga. You've gone Harry Grant ahead of Kalen Ponga.
Well, he got beat.
First, that's a fair point.
It wasn't his fault.
He got beat. So I couldn't give him
Fair enough.
the big
Harry-
award.
And Harry
First
did get
hat
3
trick.
tries.
Harry scored 3 tries. The good thing about Harry is he gave that penalty away on half time and I asked him about that. And he just said, you know what, moving on.
Well, you know how
And
good
moved
the
on,
other
got
2
3
were?
tries.
I was just gonna
Nathan
say,
only got 1 point for both of them.
if you walked away from that game thinking Nathan's going to get 1 point here, you wouldn't have realised what was to come for the rest of the weekend. Who's leading?
Just on that, Kalen.
Oh, it's all
Kalen.
over.
Kalen.
Make the reservation. What does he eat?
We'll find
Hasn't
out.
got any dietary requirements?
He'll be playing for Australia, I'd say.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I would have thought so.
Do you think he'll be starting fullback? He
He's
has to
gotta
be,
be.
doesn't he? Has to be.
Got to be.
I know Teddy's the incumbent and the captain, but geez, his form. Have you know, we saw Benji when Benji burst on the scene, and then later than that, Sean. But Kalen moves better than those.
Actually, I hope they pick him in the PM squad because I'm coaching the PM's team.
Are you?
Australian.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, to go to New Guinea.
Is this
So
recently
they changed the day of the game. So it used to be played before the grand final. It's now played the week after the grand final.
Yeah.
And so Mal will have actually the Pacific team.
It's the week after.
It's the weekend after the grand final, the Sunday after the grand
You're all
final.
being called back from holidays for that.
I won't be
Are
coming
you,
back.
is this breaking news?
I don't know.
Well,
Could
how
be
good's that
breaking.
going to be?
That'd be unreal.
Yeah.
So they'll have a lot of kids.
So when you say the PMs, who?
PM 13s.
So it's anyone who is not in the Australian
So it
team?
won't be anyone that's playing in the first game.
Okay.
So it can be members of the squad, though.
Yeah. It'll be up to
And
Mal who he feels like is going to be in the first game. And
It's
then
an
he'll just work
acknowledgement,
it out.
that game of, unheralded
Yeah.
players
But
that have done well throughout
also
the
there'd
premiership.
be no one, say it's a Melbourne Penrith grand final,
Yeah.
none of them will play.
No.
They'll give them a week off.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they're on the drink.
So that'll be good.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Sharks Cowboys Friday night at Allianz. The pressure on Cronulla. The Cowboys got the charter flight down. I did radio this week. A few people were saying they should make them drive down. It's only 22 hours.
Good for your back.
Imagine that. That's hurt my neck again.
They're hitting their best footy at the right time.
Cows.
North Queensland.
Well, they got no pressure. Absolutely all the pressure is on the Sharks. They are under no pressure whatsoever. And they're up there, out of the way, chartered flight, them and Motley Crue on the chartered flight.
you
would
want
you
to
like
get Motley Crue on the way
Who would
home.
you like on your chartered flight home? Who would you like?
Motley Crue.
And their
Just
biggest
them,
fan,
just the
Tom
band?
Walker.
What do the Cowboys got to do to win?
Well, defend. Like for their team, you look at their team, and I think what you do is you think attack. Like their attack is, when you look at the team, they are as good as anyone. They're back rowers. They've got a brilliant centre. Their fullbacks,
Creative.
lethal. The halfback Dearden, he show and go.
And defence.
Well, I think
The halfback's a big kicker. So I feel like the team's there. It's just they need to really want to defend.
Well,
That was a
you-
gutsy performance from them on the weekend against Newcastle.
Well, Knights were home, really. They looked home. Tamalolo, its best performance I've seen for a couple of years. He belted Leo, and then he's charging. The second stint was unbelievable. I think he'll get great confidence from that. I reckon this weekend we're going to see the old Jason Tamalolo. He was unbelievable.
They've got a good team. You talk about Penrith and Melbourne.
They're a seriously good team.
They're a seriously good team.
What about their outside backs? What about Drinkwater, the fullback?
I love their captains. They epitomise their team in Dearden and Cotter. Tough, compete.
Well, between them two and Robson,
He's an iron. What about for Cronulla?
team.
I think Cronulla have to strip it back and play more off Brayley out of dummy half. When they're both halves are out this year,
They've won every game.
they just tacked out a dummy half with Brayley, and then now the other halves are back. He just shovels them. It's the most dangerous spot to attack from dummy half, and it's the easiest. It's the simplest.
we saw our Cowboys won the game. Robson,
Out of dummy half.
dumb, ran, play the ball, try.
I know Penrith don't fear anyone, but I have a feeling if they played North Queensland, they'd get their attention.
Everyone would fear North Queensland. And it'd be on a...
Because it
where
must-
they'd play at a call,
Yes.
so that'd be good.
Sharks, I know you don't like to leave the Shire, the fans, but if your team ever
They'll be there.
if you ever needed 30,000 people from the Shire, get there and cheer your team on. This is when they need you. I think their middle forwards need to play better too. I thought Melbourne blew
Oh,
them away.
they got pumped.
Yeah.
Mate, I reckon the second set I was watching, there were Cronulla blokes lying on the ground. I'm thinking this isn't good.
All right.
This isn't
Who
good.
you reckon?
Well, I think North Queensland. That was my biggest problem when I watched them defend. There were players lying on the
Sharks.
ground all the time. Sharks jerseys on the ground all the time. That's not good. And that was early in the game.
All right.
Can you remember ever going to a game with the Sharks under this much pressure when you were playing?
Everyone's
I
talking
can't.
about him.
Maybe the last
Everyone's
one.
talking about him.
Not since the last one.
No.
The more the losses keep
Is it
You know,
7 in a row?
ticking
They
up.
haven't won.
See, I
The
think it's something like
semi-final.
that.
But
It's
you,
like 2018.
you've got
isn't
to
it?
talk about it. Like, you have to ask about it. It's just like, it's just,
Well, subconsciously, it'll be in their head, pretty much.
well, you look at the Roosters. They've won 1 from 20 against Melbourne and Penrith.
Yeah.
One from 21 now.
Is it?
Roosters Manly, Saturday night. By the way, Channel 9's got the Queensland commentary team Friday night. You reckon they want the Cowboys to win? We've got Fatty's coming down.
He's flying down.
Flying down.
How's his eye?
There's only 2 New South Welshmen, Gus and Gal, and the rest are Queenslanders.
How's Fatty's eye?
Oh, well, it must
Can we
be
get
okay.
a photo of his eye?
I haven't. Oh, no, I didn't actually see the photo. So he had it was
Didn't
like a
look good.
cornea issue or something,
Didn't look good.
didn't it? Roosters Manly. So Roosters
Bing bong, bing bong.
with a couple
the
of
story about Benzie when he's Jack Newton's house. Anyway, we'll leave that. Save that for another
Can we
time.
do a Bedsy episode?
Yeah.
The John Law story is a good one too. Roosters with a couple of extra days respite after playing Penrith and Manly. Oh, geez, they got battered. Then they come up again.
You know what, though? They got back to 10 points, and they had that pass called against them.
Oh, you
Roosters,
went
yeah.
two, went
That'd have been 24-16
I don't
with
think the
20 minutes
score-
to go. Mate, that's a totally different night. Totally different. So,
Manly's
I think
Manly's
they're
right
encouraged.
edge. Manly's right edge. Cherry, Garrick, and Hopper. Garrick kept coming in.
Alakalatu.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the gaps around
Yeah.
Cherry. Garrick kept coming in twice, he did it, and left Hopewadi stranded. That's the side Angus, Suoli'i and Tupou. I think they can get some joy down that edge. Once again, it's going to come down to 2 players.
Luke Keary.
Well, Luke Keary for them, but DCE and Turbo. Turbo, we're talking about his shoulder. I understand
Turbo's cool,
I
cool
understand
bloke.
his knee is the one that's troubling him. You know, he couldn't pull through those tackles.
I was just going to
He
say
is so tough.
He normally explodes through the line. He was all. And I'm not being critical. He's just obviously busted. He was kind of stopping. But the fact they've even got him out there is important.
Well, you talk physically, but mentally how tough he is.
If you go over a lot of the games, the Roosters do a pretty good job on Turbo. They
I
kick
do that.
down into that left-hand corner normally, and they just give it to him. You watch how aggressive they are. Victor, is Victor playing?
Yep.
He's playing.
Yep.
Well, he's on the extended bench.
I saw him. He's playing. Exclusive.
Oh, breaking news.
Mr. Exclusive number 2.
Could bring that to your new role in a current affair. All right, tips and margins for both games, boys. Sharks, Cowboys.
Cows, 6.
Cows by 2.
Okay. Roosters, Manly.
Rooster, 2.
Rooster by 14.
That many?
Yeah, I think they'll. Have a look at their team on paper. I know it's on paper. Their forwards look so strong, and their outside back. Myself and Cameron were on the field before their game against Penrith. We can get over the size of their outside backs. Manu, Sualihi, Dominic Young, and Tupou. Mate, they are all giraffes.
Yeah, but then you look at Penrith.
Taruva. Taruva.
They're all tiny.
Yeah.
Who's the other centre?
Tonal.
No,
Alamotti.
from Alamotti. Mate, they're all 6 foot max.
They've all been squashed by elevators. So really they were 6'4", but then just got compressed.
So they took the Roosters outside backs and threw them under elevators.
How do you reckon he goes tackling Brian Tato? He would be so hard to tackle.
You just be getting hits in the face, bleeding.
Is he like that when you're touchy? Just all muscle? What a player.
So I remember Billy said he must have read something. He said, he's 92 kilo. He's like 100, 203.
Oh, is he 100 odd?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at least.
Made of granite.
All right, gentlemen, go and enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the footy across the weekend here on 9. We'll see you next week.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights. Action. 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour. Grab a seat on the couch for that. And, of course, my favourite, Freddy the Eighth.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm. Subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.